Welcome to this week's Future Toolbox podcast. We explore the Z to A of life skills, where each letter stands for a topic and essential tool to help you get ahead in life. Meet Jules and Mark, creators of the multi-award-winning Future Toolbox, and enjoy their straightforward approach to creating growth mindsets that help people turn their dreams into realities. Whether you're a teen in education, a parent, a teacher, or part of a community group, start creating positive habits from today.
Welcome to this week's Z to A podcast with me, Jules, and Mark from the multi-award-winning Future Toolbox.
Hello, everybody, and welcome.
Now, this is where we pick a letter and a topic and discuss how you can use the tools or tips that we talk about to improve your own personal development and life. So this week's letter is...
This week's letter is C for celebrate. Yay! Now, back in June, we actually used C for cheerleader. And this was all about celebrating your small wins. So we thought it's time to go back and revisit that and talk about how you can celebrate those small wins every single day.
Yeah, because celebrating our achievements is part of your own self-development, which is what the Future Toolbox is all about. But actually, celebrating our achievements is not something that we as human beings are very good at, particularly not good at complimenting ourselves or saying, gosh, didn't I do well?
I think the Brits are absolutely brilliant at not congratulating themselves.
Yeah, they're brilliant at not congratulating.
Yeah. So I was actually watching a Bill Bailey comedy sketch the other day on social media, and it really made me smile because he was talking about the irony of the Brits and how when somebody says to you, how are you doing today? People generally say,
not bad.
Yeah, not bad.
Not too bad.
Or not too bad.
We don't go, yeah, I'm having a fantastic day.
So he was saying about how the Australians or the Americans, everything's awesome, everything's amazing. But you say to the Brits, yeah, how are you doing today? Yeah, not too bad, or could be better. And it is fascinating. Why do people say that? Because they're almost saying that, well, it could be worse. And it really made me smile because he said the full version of it is not too bad, all things considering.
Yeah.
And he actually did make a joke of, so you've considered everything. And then he went through this long list of everything you could possibly consider in life before you've actually worked out that things are not too bad.
But it is very true. We are almost programmed not to celebrate, not to be saying, oh, I'm having an absolutely fantastic day. And I wonder why that is.
I think a lot of it's to do with the imposter syndrome. So perhaps we feel like we don't want to be too arrogant or too big-headed or too over the top and say, I'm amazing, I'm better than you. And that generally really isn't the case. I mean, we've had that quite a few times when we've published a book and we've sort of said, oh, our book's coming out. In the early days of being an author, we weren't quite comfortable telling people we're publishing a book. Whereas at book number 5, we're like, our book's coming out, it's really exciting. So maybe it's the confidence and the imposter syndrome then goes away.
Yeah, I think it is that. But also you touched on something which I think's a part of it as well. That if you are always confident and always saying, oh no, I've had an absolutely amazing day. 2 things. People think you're arrogant. People think you're big-headed. And also then people think, well, that's not true. You can't always have a good day. They won't believe that you are that positive or you can be that positive.
Yeah, that's true. A lot of people do say to us, how do you have so much energy each day? How are you guys so positive? How are you guys upbeat all the time? And don't get us wrong, because there are times where we're not, where things could be really tough or, just not feeling it today. But I think it's a case of a response. I have a friend who, if they get up in the morning and they, to coin a phrase here, get out the wrong side of bed, their day is rubbish. They don't change. That's it. Today's going to be an awful day. All these things have gone wrong. So if you say to that person at 10 o'clock in the morning, how are you doing today? Oh, rubbish, terrible. I've had this nightmare, I've had that nightmare, this happened, I got stuck in traffic, somebody shouted at me, I forgot my lunch and I got stuck on the M1 or whatever it was. And they'll tell you all the things that are possibly going wrong. So today is a complete write-off at 10 o'clock in the morning.
It is hard to change that mindset though. For example, this morning when we got up, I remember saying to you, well, that wasn't a very good night's sleep because I had the most weirdest, oddest dreams constantly all night. So I didn't wake up feeling totally refreshed, but I haven't let it spoil my day because I just got up, did my usual sort of thing, but then I knew of the wonderful things that I was going to be doing today, including recording this. It just made me change that sort of negative that was in my head to start with into, oh, wow, I'm going to be doing this, so it's going to be a great day.
So if I said to you, how are you feeling now? How are you feeling?
I'm feeling absolutely wonderful. Yeah. Thank you very much. I've had an awesome morning.
things are not too bad, all things considered. No, we won't say that. All things considered. I had some bad dreams.
But yeah, it's true that sometimes it's really, really difficult to have that positivity, to have that mindset, and celebrating those achievements. It can be overwhelming too, because for some people it will be changing their habits, changing their routine. But honestly, folks, if you can manage to do this, it will lead to big changes. Even if you just try a little bit just to change that and just have that little celebration of something that's gone right for you that day.
That's bang on, because back in C for Cheerleader, we talked about celebrating all those small wins every single day. And it's really important because, again, we get bogged down on seeing people in the media who are obviously really successful. They might be millionaires, they might be rock stars, they might be high-profile sports people. So then you can get caught in that self-comparison to something which is probably too many steps to achieve that particular day. And then we forget to stay in the moment sometimes.
Yes. Very, very true. So I'm going to chuck a question at you.
Oh, I like questions.
So we're talking about celebrating small wins, not your great big wins, but your small wins. How do you celebrate yours?
Do you know what? I did quite a new one the other day. So I was trying to work something out on the computer. There was a little process and I worked it out. So I was quite pleased with that. That was a very small win. It wasn't particularly a difficult task, but it's like, whoa, I get this now. So I actually stood up, I walked to the balcony and just stood on the balcony and looked across the road. I almost done like a mini cheer inside. I didn't want to stand on the balcony and go, yes, at all the people that were probably walking past or whatever. But it was just that moment of standing there and feeling that moment of satisfaction and realising that I was outside, I could feel the wind blowing, I could see the trees, I could see the lovely view. And I mean, obviously we're fortunate if we can see the sea from there. And I just stood there and took that moment in. And that to me, there was that little cheer inside.
And that's it. It's about being your own cheerleader, isn't it? And those small wins, sometimes, like you say, that you manage to work out the solution to that problem and you think, yeah, I've done it. But too often, we just move on to the next thing. We don't actually sit for that moment like you did and went on the balcony and inwardly think to yourself, oh, done it. Well done.
Sometimes as well, I'll put a song on and maybe listen to a bit of that, sing along to it or whatever. You like doing your little dances as well, don't you?
Yeah, I always do a little dance or a little jig, really, just to say yes.
Now, when we were back in England a few weeks ago, you actually got my 94-year-old nan dancing and doing a celebration dance, didn't you?
I did.
It was lovely.
I can't even remember what we'd done, but we'd done something. And I said, come on, Nan. And I got her out of a chair and we had a little dance, didn't we?
Yeah, it was a wonderful moment when I walked in the living room, blissfully unaware of what you two were doing and saw you dancing around the living room. It was beautiful. It really was. So what else, apart from dancing, what else do you do to celebrate your wins?
Well, as you all know, the dancing is a big part of mine. And I generally do something like that with the small wins. But I'm just going to move on to the celebrating the big wins.
Oh, yes.
Do you know, one of the things that I do, and I'm not sure that Mark really, really likes that I do this, but sometimes I just think, wow, brilliant, well done, Jules. So I'll go and do a bit of retail therapy, treat myself. I go and treat myself to something. The other days I actually had my nails done. I had my nails done for the first time in years, I think.
Yeah, that's absolutely fine. I'm cool with that.
I know you're cool with that.
I'm cool with that. You can do that.
But sometimes when I just say, like, I'm just going to go and do shopping, I know I can almost visibly see you think, oh no, how much is she going to spend this time?
Actually, to be fair, you don't normally tell me you're going to do that. You just walk in with the bags afterwards. It's like, oh, there's a bag in the recycling bin. Where did that come from? Well, that's a new top you're wearing. But no, that is absolutely fine. And by the way, listeners, I don't have a problem with that at all. I don't mind when Jules does that.
No, I'm just saying that sometimes on the bigger things, or if we've been working really hard and it's been very difficult, but we've finally made a breakthrough on something that we've been trying to work on for some time, that elation, that lovely feeling of achievement, yeah, I might go and buy myself a new top or something.
Actually, one of mine's very similar. So our listeners, if you've been tuning in, there'll be no secret that I'm a keen runner, and probably might have read some of the stories in Half Man, Half Marathon, the latest book. But I do mention in there that one of the things that I love to do is if I've had a really good training run or I've had a really good race, is I'll go and enter another one. That's almost like my retail therapy. I'll go and buy myself another race entry. And I don't normally get it in a shopping bag, so I can bring it home in the door and you can find out. But there you go.
But yeah, let's go back to C is for celebrate. How do you celebrate life every day? Here's a few sort of ideas that we have. We talked about sometimes you wake up in the morning and got out of bed the wrong side, as you were saying. But one of the things that I like to do is wake up and just think, wow, be grateful that you've got another day.
Oh, without a doubt. It's really, really nice to get up and throw open the curtains and just see what it's like outside.
Yeah.
Now, bearing in mind the Brits sometimes open the curtains, see that it's raining and go, oh, today could be better. You've got to be careful of that. You could be really grateful. All things considered, if it's raining, the trees are going to grow and the grass is going to get very green.
Yeah.
But on a serious note, it's nice to open the curtains, the doors, and just see what's out there in the world instead of just staying cooped up in the house. So that's definitely one of my favourite things to do first thing.
Absolutely. Again, I was just saying this morning, as much as I felt a little bit off because I'd not had the best night and had some weird, odd dreams, I'm still thankful for the day that I've got ahead of me. Not everybody has woken up, so sometimes just celebrate the fact, yes, I've woken up this morning. Great one. And talking about that, at the end of the day, when you're getting ready to go to bed, now sometimes, and it happens to us and it happens to everybody, you have a really, really tough day. Things are out of your control and it's been horrible. But you can turn that into a slight positive and just think to yourself that you'll never have that day again. It's done.
Gone. It's in history, isn't it?
Yeah, it's
let
the
it
past. And tomorrow is another day.
So I guess we've talked about getting out of bed in the morning and going to bed at night, and maybe we're focused on perhaps you didn't have a great day or whatever. But how about if you've had a really, really good day? That would be an ideal time to celebrate all of the wins from the day. So you've had an amazing day. Like the bad day, you can't have that day again because it's gone, but you can then bounce forward for the following day and think, okay, what went really well today? What was really, really good? What can I do more of tomorrow in order to take myself forward and springboard myself into the future? And that really introduces the next tip, which is actually having a conversation with yourself about life in general. So whether it's a positive or a negative thing, if it's a negative, not too bad, all things considered, you can then start considering the things that maybe weren't too bad about it and say, okay, how can I make it better? How can I put some positivity into the next time I do that task, or the next time I'm faced with being stuck in the traffic, or the next time that guy cuts me up on the motorway or whatever? Perhaps I can react to it slightly different.
Yeah, because there might be something that's happened in that day that it's good to reflect on it and have a conversation with yourself about what were the pros and cons about whatever it was, and if there was a decision or something that you had to make, and how possibly you might do that differently if you're faced with it again.
Absolutely. But if it went really, really well, this is the time to celebrate it. Maybe go back over those things and relive that moment for a few seconds in your head thinking, that was amazing when I nailed that task, or when I did really, really well on that, or when I got that really good feedback, and have that thought in your mind. Maybe journal it as well.
Yeah, you took the words right out of my mouth.
I did.
We are full of sayings today by the sounds of it.
That was a meat.
But yeah, so yeah, if something has gone really, really well and you've learned some great lessons, journal it, write it down, because then you can go back to it, because sometimes you forget or it goes out of your mind. But journaling is just an amazing way to look back at your memories of that moment, isn't it?
I think a good way you could do this as well is to go back over your phone and see what pictures you've taken. So if you've taken some photos of a really, really good day, so for example, on Fridays we run with a group of people, and that's really, really good. We all take a photo. How many times do we take photos on our phone? We never look at them again. So perhaps go back over that and we pick that picture up and it's like, oh yeah, Friday we was doing that run or that walk with those people. Wasn't that a great day? You can then bottle that moment and take it forward to the next time you go and meet these people or whatever the task may be.
You do that regularly, and I don't know whether you realise that you're doing that. because you often say to me, oh, quick, Jules, have a look at this, where you're having a quiet moment. It pops up on your phone, Google Photos or whatever it is, and says, on this day, 2 years ago, this is what we were doing. And then the next 10 minutes, we're looking through photos of what we were doing on this day, like 2 years ago, 5 years ago, and reliving some wonderful moments. And oh my goodness, does it lift your spirits, doesn't it?
It does.
I've got another great tip for you.
Go on then. Go on.
If you're having a bit of a rough time, or maybe you're not, you're just having an ordinary day, but one of the great things to celebrate is let your inner child out and play.
Oh, I love that one, yeah. Have we actually grown up?
No. And I mean, first of all, the first thing that springs to my mind when you think about being a child and just doing that is the joy of jumping in puddles. Or here, just singing in the sunshine. So you can either sing in the rain or sing in the sunshine. Talk to the birds. Try and sing to the birds. Ever tried doing that? They never sing back to me.
No, that's a really, really good one. Or in our case, in Lanzarote, we can go and jump in the sea.
Yes.
We don't get much rain to go and walk in. So.
But yeah, let that inner child out. What else? Skipping rope. Go skipping. I love skipping. I dance down the aisles in the shops here. If they've got music going, Mark's like, where's she off to now? And there I am, skipping and doing the most boring things like just shopping.
I loved that the other day because we were walking through a home store, which would be probably an equivalent to a Wilko's or a B&Q or something. We were walking through there and you was dancing ahead and I was just sort of jigging behind you. And I caught sight of the lady behind the counter. She was just about to serve a customer and take their payment, and she just looked and thought, what are these two people doing? You're in a DIY hardware store and you're dancing? Why ever not?
Why ever not? But another great way to keep the positivity in your day is to believe that anything can happen. That's part of my philosophy, that anything is possible. I don't believe in the word impossible. I just think everything is possible. You just need to find your way round to do it, don't you? So yeah, believe that anything can happen.
Yeah, quote time. Audrey Hepburn said, nothing is impossible. The word is I'm possible. And if you write down the word impossible and then put an apostrophe and a gap between the M, you'll get the idea there.
Yes, yeah.
But it is spot on. If you want to do something, then look at ways of doing it. Set that goal first and then worry about how you're going to do it later. And just be open to whatever happens, and then use the laws of attraction. You have that inbuilt radar, don't you? The RAS, the reticular activating system, which will help you look for ways to make those things happen.
Absolutely. We're talking about positivity and all the rest of it, but we are absolutely 100% aware that you will have tough times, you will have tough days. But I always say to people, tough times, they don't last forever. Equally, it doesn't matter how much maybe you fall down or it doesn't go as well as you wanted it to, but no matter how many times that you fall down, what matters is getting back up, dusting yourself down and carrying on. And the reason that I'm very, very keen for people to think, right, okay, that was a bad day, it's done, it's dusted, tomorrow's another day, because you know, for me, I think there's so many beautiful things out there to see and do that you deserve not to miss them.
Yeah, I absolutely love that. It's such a great positive way of looking at the small wins and the small positivities. So I'm going to set our listeners a little task.
Yes.
Here is your homework. I don't like the word homework, all things considered. It's not that bad, is it? No, joking aside, next time you see somebody and they say to you, how are you? What are you going to say?
I'm having a great day, thank you. How are you?
I'm fantastic, thanks very much. So that is your task. You can say those simple words. Even if the day isn't going great, just tell people that you're having a great day. Focus on the positives.
Absolutely. And one little last piece from me, at the end of every day, before you go to sleep, take a minute to be proud of yourself, because that will give you a good night's sleep, a positivity, and you'll wake up with a bit of positivity in you too. So be proud of yourself.
Again, guys, thank you so much for listening. We are proud to be the creators of the Future Toolbox, and we are proud of our tools, which you can find on our website, futuretoolbox.co.uk. You can also find us on social media. We're on Facebook, Instagram and TikTok. And we are on YouTube, so make sure you subscribe to that. You can also find us on LinkedIn because we are
everywhere.
And we're obviously very proud of this podcast. We'd like you to celebrate our success by sharing this podcast with a friend. And even better, if you could do us a huge favour and give us a little rating on whatever platform you're listening to, because that helps our reach to get further and spread the love. So we look forward to catching you all next week. Have a great one.
Bye for now.
Thank you for joining us for the Z2A of Life Skills with Jules and Mark of the Future Toolbox. Don't forget to head over to their website, which is futuretoolbox.co.uk, where you can find lots of free resources, plus a host of books in the store, as well as subscribing to the membership site. Follow Future Toolbox Instagram, TikTok and Facebook at Future Toolbox, and subscribe to their YouTube channel too.